Liam Sterling is an undeniably successful man at the age of 58. He has built a legacy not only through his wealth, but also through his contributions to society. He is the type of person who seems to have it all. With everything, a large estate on the outskirts of the city, and his position on many boards of directors, Liam seems to own everything one could dream of. Influential companies in the world, an impeccable reputation for all intents and purposes, Liam had reached the pinnacle of success, but for all the accolades there was a strange emptiness that had begun to overtake him as the years passed. A man surrounded by luxury, he finds himself increasingly disconnected from the world around him. He was always the type of person who was always busy to keep moving forward, to focus on the next project, the next deal, the next philanthropic initiative. But as he grew older, a part of him began to question it all. What all that really means. He never married, never had children, at least not one. He admitted his relationships were fleeting, often shallow. Liam finds himself separate from the very world he is trying to improve. Liam finds solace in buried work, himself with the responsibilities that come with his wealth, but no matter how much he achieves, there is always a nagging feeling that something important is missing. It was a cool autumn afternoon in the city when Liam left the meeting in the city center. He chose to walk on the crowded streets of that city, enjoying these lonely moments. Even in the crowd, it gives him time to think about his life and the world around him. However, today will be different. Liam's attention was drawn to a young man sitting on the sidewalk. His clothes were ragged, his face was full of exhaustion, far beyond his age. Next to him is a cardboard sign, silently pleading for help. For some reason, Liam found himself unable to pass. There was something strangely familiar about the young man. When their eyes met, Liam felt his heart sink. The young man, probably around 18 years old, had similar piercing blue eyes, a familiar jawline, even a small cleft in his chin, features that Liam himself had inherited from his father. Realizing he'd been staring, Liam stammered, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable." "It's okay," the teenager said with a shrug, as if he was used to everyone's scrutiny. But this meeting felt different with Liam, more personal, more intriguing. Liam couldn't explain how curious he was to know more about this young man. It was as if fate had placed him on Liam's path, and now their lives had intersected. "What's your name?" Liam asked gently. "Marcus," the young man replied, his tone cautious. "Marcus Rivers." Curiosity took hold of Liam. "How long have you been out here, Marcus?" "Maybe a few months," Marcus replied, his voice bitter. I guess he was struggling to find a job, but he seemed thoughtful. "It's hard when you're just a black kid with no connections. Which system? No one really cares." Liam felt a little guilty at the boy's words. He knew that the world was full of injustice, full of people who had fallen through the cracks, but this time it felt different. There was something meaningful. Personally, in this encounter, something made him feel as if he had failed in some way. "Do you have anyone?" "Family," Liam urged, his voice barely above a whisper. "No," Marcus replied quietly. "My mother passed away last year. She is all I have." The profundity of Marcus's words surprised Liam, leaving him searching for something to say that wouldn't sound trite or insincere. Realizing he couldn't just leave, he suggested, "Do you have somewhere to stay tonight?" Marcus shook his head. "I'll find a way." "I usually do." Liam thought quickly. He couldn't leave Marcus on the street. There is a strong pull to want to help. Acting on an impulse, he said, "Come along to my house." Marcus hesitated, his expression both suspicious and curious. "Why?" he asked, his voice filled with disbelief. Liam didn't answer clearly, but he answered seriously, "I just want to help you." After a moment, Marcus nodded. "Okay," he said carefully, but only for tonight." Liam breathed a sigh of relief, called a taxi, and they both sat quietly in the car and left. When they arrived, Marcus marveled at the lavish scene. The marble floors, the towering windows overlooking the city, were in stark contrast to the harsh realities of his life. "Do you live here?" Marcus asked with surprise. Liam nodded, feeling a little uncomfortable at the stark contrast between their lives. Marcus didn't say anything else, but Liam could see the gears turning in his mind. He knew the young man was trying to understand why a rich man like him would care about a homeless child like him. As Marcus showered and changed into some of Liam's clothes, Liam couldn't escape the feeling that this was more than just a chance encounter. The similarity between them, down to every specific detail, tormented him. In the days that followed, Liam arranged a hotel stay for Marcus, gave him a modest allowance, and tried to help him find work. However, the thought that Marcus could be a random stranger still lingered in Liam's mind. "No," Liam replied softly, his voice filled with emotion. "I think I could be your father." The words hung in the air between them, surreal and unimaginable. Marcus looked at Liam as if he had just said something unbelievable. "Are you kidding?" he said, half laughing. But Liam's face wasn't amused at all. "I know it sounds crazy, but there was someone years ago. It was a short relationship and I never knew what would happen. But I can't escape the feeling that you could be my son." He had never known about it, seemed impossible. And yet the resemblance was undeniable when the results finally came back. Liam's heart almost stopped beating. The test confirmed what he had long suspected: Marcus was his biological son. Liam sat in stunned silence, staring at the report in his hand. There was a son he never knew about, a son who grew up poor on the streets, while Liam lived a life of luxury and privilege, the weight of which crushed all success, all wealth, its insignificance making him feel almost unbearable. Liam sat silently in his office, the ADN test results still spread out on the table in front of him. The realization that Marcus was his son hit him hard. He hadn't anticipated how this could happen, why he hadn't known that his mind was racing to try and fill in the blanks of his past. It was actually many years ago, and decades ago, when he had that brief affair with a woman he barely remembered. Pulling them apart at the time seemed insignificant, but now, staring at the irrefutable evidence that he had a son, Liam felt the weight of his past mistakes weigh down on him. His fingers tapped nervously on the wooden table, and he felt his heart clench. Being young, and it was a fleeting relationship before life had it. Pulling them apart at the time seemed insignificant, but now, staring at the irrefutable evidence that he had a son, Liam felt the weight of his past mistakes weigh down on him. His fingers tapped nervously on the wooden table, and he felt his heart clench. Liam invites Marcus back to his house and is determined to have a difficult conversation with him. Been staring at him vaguely since the DNA results came out. Marcus arrived, his expression unreadable, clearly unsure of what was going to happen. They both sat in the sumptuous living room, the air between them thick with tension and unspoken words. "I was received the results." Liam started to lower his voice and tremble. "You are my son." Marcus did not flinch. After days of contemplating this possibility, he prepared himself, but hearing the confirmation was still painful. "Yes," he said softly, his eyes never wavering. "I think so." The weight of the truth weighed on Liam, who struggled to find the right words. "Marcus, I don't know. If I knew." Marcus interrupted him, his voice calm but sharp. "What if you knew? Were you there? You stopped my mother from working herself to death. Would that change anything?" Liam winced, knowing that Marcus was right to be angry. All he could say was a gentle, "I'm sorry." "I don't need your apology," Marcus replied. "And I don't need your money either. But maybe we can work this out." Hope flashed in Liam's chest. "I don't have all the answers, Marcus, but I want to try. To be with you." For weeks they met regularly, each meeting a tentative step toward getting to know each other better. Marcus was clear that he did not want alms, he sought connection, not charity. And as Liam listened to Marcus's life story, his respect for him grew. He saw Marcus's tenacity, ambition, and deep disappointment with what life had given him. During a conversation, Marcus shared about his dream. "I don't want to live on the streets forever," he said. "I had plans, things I wanted to do. I just never had the chance to pursue them." Liam felt both proud and sad. "You don't have to work alone anymore," he replied, his voice gentle. "I'll be here to support you." Although Marcus was still wary, he acknowledged Liam's suggestion with a silent nod. As their relationship deepened, Liam came to understand the immense privilege he had always taken for granted. Marcus' story reminded him of the disparity between them, not only in wealth but also in life experience. Liam's success has shielded him from the challenges Marcus faces every day. They spend more time together, gradually narrowing the gap between their two worlds. Liam, humbled by his past ignorance, tries to understand the hardships Marcus has endured. Marcus, in turn, begins to see a side of Liam beyond wealth and status, a man trying to redeem himself for lost years. One day, as they sat together in a city park, Marcus confided, "I've spent most of my life angry, but now I don't know what to do with it all." Liam nodded, his eyes filled with sympathy. "We don't need to solve everything today," he said, "but we can start by being here for each other." Over time, Liam did more than just provide financial support. He became a father figure, someone Marcus could trust in more than just the physical sense. And Marcus found a new sense of hope, a realization that he no longer had to face every challenge alone. Although their journey was not without difficulties, it was a start. And as they stood together, watching the twinkling city lights, they understood that family was more than just about shared blood. It's about shared experiences and the choice to move forward together.